Hello, welcome to my channel. I'm Tiffany, retired librarian turned homeschool mom. And in this video, as we wind up Cecile and Marie Grace, we're going to be looking at a children's book that, oddly enough, I remember from my childhood. It's Civil War stuff. Because, again, I'm limited. Because there's just not a lot of stuff written about New Orleans in the 1850s and the free people of color. It doesn't exist, at least not for children. So we're going to be looking at Sweet Clara and the Freedom Quilt by Deborah Hopkinson. This is kind of a very cute story. So this is about a young girl by the name of Clara. Before she was 12 years old, she was sent to a farm sent from North Farm to Home Plantation. So when she was a child. And she was, eventually she ends up, the woman who takes her in, because she's taken away from her mother, eventually teaches her to sew so she's not out in the fields because she's very small. And so she's working in the big house, as they would call it, basically. She's sewing for the mistress of the house. And so she kind of, this tells a story of how she starts making a quilt that, using bits and pieces over several years, that is a map that can lead other slaves to the north. I believe, I don't know if it's going all the way to Canada or if it's just going to, just into the north. It might be just going into Pennsylvania or something. But this is kind of the story of what she's doing, and how one of the other young men, I think his name was Young John, he escapes, he's brought back. They don't go into what would have actually happened. Maybe he just wasn't gone that long and they didn't whip him that much. But again, it's a children's book. But they eventually run away together, and she leaves the quilt. She does offer to bring her aunt, who's not really her aunt, with her. She's like, I'm too old, she says. But I'll keep the quilt. And so Clara, because Clara, and she's like, don't you need it? She's like, no. Clara said, she basically says, it's like, I know every stitch. I know the way. Because she would get information, bits and pieces from different people, and they knew what she was doing. And so she would hear things. And so she slowly kind of make this map. Now, this is purely fiction. Maps like this did not exist. But it's a very kind of, they did do quilting though. But nonetheless, it's a very kind of cute story, and that talks about the Freedom Quilt and how eventually, of course, she leaves, and her and what amounts to be her husband are able to get her mother, and they're able to go north. But it's a story of kind of the Underground Railroad. It's very cute. It's a great introduction. My watch bugs me because I've been sitting too long. Nonetheless, I remember this from my childhood. I don't know if I have a copy. I might have, but I'm not sure. I've done some book purging lately, and there's a bunch of stuff in my garage at this moment, where I donated a bunch of books to my local library. But nonetheless, I have a digital copy that I bought on Amazon. You can probably find it at your library. Again, as I mentioned, I haven't mentioned this before. When it comes to children's picture books, try to get physical copies. I do digital when I started the channel, because COVID was going on. And these days, I'm too busy with my daughter. She's almost 7. And it's just too chaotic to get to the library. So, nonetheless, and it's just easier to read things digitally for me. But nonetheless, I love this book. It's great illustrations. The author is very well known. But it's a great introduction to this, the Underground Railroad. But it does, as you can see, there's a decent amount of writing in this. So it's not just a picture book. I'm trying to think of how long it is. But I think she's about 18 when she leaves, but I'm not sure. Let me see how long it is. Of course, it doesn't tell me. This is giving me further reading, which isn't really what I want. And that's from the author. So, is that from the illustrator? Yes. There's a couple. So this book, it's about 33 pages. But there's a decent amount of writing in here. So I'm going to give the age range elementary, all of that elementary, maybe into middle school. It's definitely a great book. So, and it's a good introduction to the to the Underground Railroad, and not, I wouldn't say slavery, but a little bit for the younger kids. So, sorry, my voice is still scratchy. But nonetheless, great book. This is the last book I'm doing for Cecile and Marie Grace. We will be going to Kirsten, which will be doing more Oregon Trail, pioneer stuff for next month. And then we'll be jumping back into the American Civil War with Addie's books. It's just, again, I do what I can when it comes to Cecile and Marie Grace. There's not a lot going on. There's not a lot of children's media available for the free people of color in New Orleans in the 1850s, or the free people of color, period. These two have been hard for me, I will thoroughly admit. So, trying to find stuff that works for them. So again, I ended up touching on the stuff that I will touch a little bit more with on Addie. So nonetheless, if you like what you see, be sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Thank you.